Good afternoon, sir and classmates. Today is I'm going to recite all the definitions that I memorized from the past few weeks in Forensic 2 as my final examination. So, I will start. So, first, I will start. Dactyloscopy. Dactyloscopy, the science which deals with the study of fingerprints as a means of personal identification. There are two Greek words, dactyl, which means finger, and scopein, examine. Then dactylography, the study of fingerprints for the purpose of identification. Dactylomancy, an attempt at character reading through the pattern of fingerprints. And dermatoglyphics, are the lines, tracings, and designs on the skin of fingers, palms, and soles. Polydactyl, hand having more than the required numbers of fingers. And let's go to the three allied or related sciences within the scope of dactyloscopy. First is chiroscopy, scientific examination of the palm of the hand. There are two Greek words. Chir, meaning palm or hand. Then podoscopy, podoscopy, the scientific examination of the sole of the foot. There are two Greek words. Podo, which means sole or foot. Scopein, examine. Then poroscopy, the scientific examination of the sweat pores and glands. Poros, which means pair. And scopein, examine. Then principle of infallibility, this states that the fingerprints can never be forged. Fingerprint is reliable means of identification. So let's proceed to the next, fingerprint laboratory equipment. First, we have ink roller, refers to an instrument used for spreading into the ink slab or inking plate. Ink slab or inking plate refers to a piece of metal or a plain glass with as much as 1/4 thick and 6 or more inches long, where the fingerprint ink is distributed for fingerprinting. Card holder. Card holder refers to a gadget used for clipping the fingerprint to avoid movement of the card during printing. Fourth, fingerprint ink. Fingerprint ink refers to a specially manufactured ink for purposes of taking fingerprint. Then the next is magnifying glass. Refers to an instrument used for examination of developed prints. And next is fingerprint powder. Refers to the powder used in developing latent print found in the scene of crime, they are normally found into black and the white or gray, which is applied depending upon the contrasting background. Fingerprint brushes refers to an instrument used for powdering latent print, which the latent prints. These are three variations of brushes. Use the fiberglass, magnetic, and feather type. Next is fingerprint lifting tapes. Refers to a tapes used in developed lifted prints, latent prints, which is quite harder than an ordinary tapes. Next is latent prints transfer card. Refers to a card used in preserving lifted latent prints, which is either white or black in background. Then next is fingerprint cards. Refers to a pieces of cards used in recording the 10 fingerprints for comparison. The usual size is 8 by 8. And next is scissor. Scissor is refers to a simple instrument used for cutting latent print tapes and for other purposes. Rubber gloves to protect the technician fingers from leaving his own prints on the object or on the scene. Post-mortem fingerprint equipment refers to a set of equipment that consisting hypodermic syringe, spoon, tissue builder solvent, tissue cleanser, etc. for use taking prints of dead persons. Fingerprint table, unintended table for taking fingerprints. Fingerprint pointers used for pointing the reads in the conduct of reads counting. Fingerprint cameras used in photographing to develop latent prints. Forensic optical comparator used to compare two fingerprints at the same time. Fingerprints, the distinctive reads outline which appears on the bulb of fingers. Friction skin, epidermis, hairless skin found on the ventral or lower surface of the hands and feet covered with the minute reads and furrows and without pigment and coloring matters. Reed surface is that component of the friction skin that actually forms the fingerprint impression. Then surface are tiny elevation or hill-like structures. Are the tiny elevation or hill-like structures found on the epidermis layer of the skin containing sweat pores. And the next is furrows. Furrows are the canal-like impression or a depression found between the reeds, which may be compared with the low area in a tire tread. Next is sweat pores, is a small opening found anywhere across the reed surface, but is usually found near the center. The next is sweat duct, is a long hose-like structures that serves as the passageway for the sweat that exits at its mouth, the pore. Sweat glands, found on the epidermis layer of the skin which possible for the production and sweet watery substance. Next is epidermis, the outer covering of the skin. There are two layers of epidermis. First is stratum corneum, is outer layer. Then second is stratum mucosum, is the immediately beneath the covering layers. Then dermis, the inner layer of the skin containing blood vessels, various glands, and nerves. It is where the dermal papillae are found. Bifurcation are the single ridge that divides itself two or more branches. It's sometimes called a fork. Converging ridges are the ridge formation characterized by a close angular end and serves as point of convergence to meeting of ridges that were previously running side by side. Diverging ridges, two ridges that are flowing side by side and suddenly separating or spreading apart. Then enclosure, lake, islet, or island, a ridge that divides into two branches and meets to form the original ridge. Finger abnormalities and congenitals. First is macrodactyly. Macrodactyly, enlargement of fingerprint. Then the next is polydactyly, having more than the usual normal number of fingers. Then next is brachydactyly. The fingers are abnormally short. Then syndactyly, wherein two fingers are joined or fused together. Then ectodactyly, or lobster claw hen. It is the absence of one or more fingers in a hen. Then ending ridge, an end point of a ridge with abrupt ending. Recurving or looping ridge, a kind of ridge in formation that curves back into the direction from which it started. The next is sufficient recurve, a recurving ridge complete in its shoulder and is free from any appendage. Then appendage, a short ridge found at the top or summit of a recurving ridge. Then rod or bar, a short or long ridge found inside the innermost recurving ridge of a loop pattern.